precisely because we are a diverse community. Under this executive order, our campus colleagues and friends are now barred from returning if they leave the country for any reason. And as was mentioned, one student from Iran who does not want her name mentioned because she is afraid has already been barred entry into the country and cannot start her studies here at LSU. These are intolerable and unjust conditions. Our international colleagues at LSU need our support. We stand with them in solidarity.
This executive order, along with others that have affected or may affect non-U.S. citizens, signal a clear threat to the rights of immigrants in the United States and to the values of the LSU community. According to LSU's diversity statement, cultural inclusion is of the highest priority. So for this reason, we call on President F. King Alexander and the LSU administration to issue an immediate statement in full support of all international students, faculty, and staff, especially those targeted by recent executive orders. We urge the university to provide immediate assistance, such as legal advice, housing for those unable to leave the country, or reimbursement for lost tuition or other expenses. International students and faculty should also be advised of a central contact point at LSU where they can safely and confidentially have their concerns addressed.
We won't read the rest of it in great detail, but we also ask for definitive procedures in place. For example, that the LSU administration comply with federal requests for immigration status information only when legally compelled to do so. That the LSU administration ensure the campus publicly that the campus police will not ask about immigration status in the course of their regular duties, or that we provide confidential legal support and advice to immigrants regardless of their status. Okay? These are the things that we are presenting to the president of LSU, King Alexander, in the hopes that he will make a stronger and directed, active statement of support. Okay? Now, I want to finish though. I've been in contact, as I said, with the one student from Iran who has been barred entry. She does not want her name mentioned. She is afraid of having her name mentioned, as are many other Iranian students. Iranian students in particular are the third largest contingent of foreign students at LSU. There are others as well from affected countries here. She emailed me this morning. She wants her voice heard. So I am going to read just a few snippets of the email that this student sent me this morning. She says, after being admitted in LSU, I changed all my life plans. I left my job. My husband did. We sold our belongings and packed for a new life. We were alert day and night for 2 months to find a canceled interview session to apply for our visa in the United Arab Emirates. We don't have an embassy in Iran. After the interview, we had to wait almost 2 months for an FBI check. We checked our account more than 20 times a day for notice of our clearance. Now, 1 day before our flight, we have an order that bans our entry. I wanted to study there. I waited so long to be given this chance. Every morning, I get up after a terrible nightmarish sleep. I find no plan, no ambition. I feel numb, and I just want to know why this happened to me. This is the voice of a fellow LSU student. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Showing your love, respect, and support. I am here that are now in danger of being deported back to their countries and turned apart from their families. These young immigrants came to this country chasing the American dream. Just to give them better education, more opportunities in a better future. These dreamers grew up in this country, went to school with your kids, pledged the United States of America flag, just like any American. A lot of these young dreamers created families here and contributed to this country in many positive, different ways. They want to continue to contribute to this country, but to do so, their DACA needs to stay permanent. I'm here to say that DACA recipients deserve a permanent immigration law to protect them and along with their families. Thank you, everyone.
How's everybody doing? Awesome. I just wanted to convey that this isn't really a Muslim ban. You know, you gotta read the executive order.
My family and I moved here about 16 years ago. We came here through the refugee program. We were hosted, we were brought here by the refugee resettlement program from over at Catholic Charity. And Catholic Charity, the resettlement program was the program that helped us to assimilate to our new home. And importantly, it was through this program that I got to meet other refugee families that I now call my community family as well. The process wasn't easy to get here. It's a long, busy process for many, I would say most of the refugees that come to America. It's a process that we had to travel to another country before we could even apply. So we moved from Sudan to Egypt for a few years before we could get here. And as this is the same case for many other refugees as well. However, this program has granted us new lives here in America. It has given me and my family opportunities that my former country did not give me. To be realistic, it won't happen. I'm forever grateful for the refugee resettlement program. I believe that what this program has offered me and my family is what many refugees come here come to see. And I know that, and I believe that what this program has done for me, it aids me to know that people who are permanent residents are banned from the very place in which now they call home. And it hurts me even more to think that it's programs like this that are going to be defunded, and that many people are forced to leave their homes. They won't have programs as such to come and help them with the resettlement. This program, I can't imagine this very opportunity that's changed my life. For the very best, is going to be a program that's no longer going to be there for many, many refugees. I think this is a huge violation. I think it's a human rights violation, and I believe that if you've been given the papers, if you've been given legal papers to say that America is your home, it should be violated. This is your home, as much as it is home for everyone that's here. So I thank all of you guys for coming and just standing in solidarity with us. It means a lot to me as a former Sudanese, a person who holds dual citizenship. So thank you. You're allowed to come in the middle, right here. We understand that there's a big crowd and not everyone is here. And we also ask that if you're speaking, please project. And please respect everyone who's speaking. Thank you very much. If you're having trouble hearing, you have a seat around the speaker. And if you're speaking, please try to project.
I want to tell you about a very friend of mine who is actually staying here.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Excuse me, everyone, can you please be quiet so that you can hear the speaker? Thank you.
The story is about a very close friend of mine who came here 3 years ago to continue his study, to do his PhD. In Florida State University, not this university. But after 3 years hard work, he did a very good job in PhD. He recently, in January, lost his father. And he begged to see his family and do all the things. But after he applied again for re-entry visa, which took about 2 months, he couldn't re-entry to the United States because of he was PhD candidate, and maybe he was everything. And Marianne, my partner, and I also are PhD here. And I'm thinking about the new law. If this order goes like what it is right now, it can influence, it can make straight up, because Marianne's study is continuing, but mine is going to finish. I'm very close to graduation. And I have to leave this country in 16 days, 2 days after graduation, while Marianne is here. And I just want to tell you that this is the real story of the real people, and I just want you all to know how it can affect our life. Thank you very much.
Okay,
question. I'm a sociology major. I want to talk about like what like us as white people can do to help. So like we have this like privilege that other people aren't allowed, which allows us to be more outspoken and do more things without having to worry about the consequences that Muslim students or students face. I think it's important that we realize that all these positions in which are used to divide people are placed on purpose, and that power structure cause like us to come together.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I really don't know what I'm about to say, so apologies in advance. But I would like to start off with why I'm here. I think the most important part about this is whether you want to call it a Muslim ban or not, or just an immigration ban, whatever it is. One of the most important things about this is the precedents that it's setting. How are we, as Americans, the country that is supposed to offer people hope, the country that is supposed to offer people refuge, the country that is supposed to offer people a chance for a better life, how are we going to say to you people, hey, you can't come here. This isn't for you. You're not allowed here. That goes against every value that we as Americans stand for. Now, another point that I would like to make is the executive order wasn't limited to people that have possible terrorist connections. There's people who have already been pre-approved. People who have already gotten here, gotten their legal status, have already been legally accepted into this country and aren't being allowed to come in. Now, if you read the document, nowhere in there does it say specifically Muslim, but you don't have to. If you read past the language, you can see it's very coded. This is a Muslim ban. Now, I don't know what you guys' religious background is. If you're not religious at all, whatever you adhere to. I'm a Christian. And there's nothing in my Bible that supports this at all. This is what my Bible says about immigrants. I'm going to read it for you. Any immigrant living among you must be treated as one of your citizens. You must love them as yourself. It's from Leviticus chapter 19. So,
For 90 days.
huh?
It's a ban for 90 days.
Actually, it's for 120 days. You gotta read it,
Okay,
fam.
under 20 days. After that,
Hey, bro, if you want to talk to me about it, I got you. We all good here.
we go up front, we go back here.
Huh? Anyway, the point I'm making is, whether you think it's right or not, it's the precedence that it's setting. When you start banning stuff, like this is exactly what happened with Hitler and the Holocaust.
First, you can do this. You can do that. You have to think about the precedents that we're setting and the values that we're upholding as a country. Oh, and another thing while I'm up here. We got to do a little bit more than just talk about it.
Yes.
You go vote, you go donate $5 to whatever organization you want to, but you got to do a little bit more than just talk about it. I'm just here to elaborate a little bit more on what Justin started about white people. I'm white. I am not an immigrant. I am not Muslim. I will never understand the struggle. I will never understand the oppression. However, I can use my privilege and my voice not to speak for you, but to speak with you. We have to remember, we have privilege. We have the privilege to do these things and to not face consequences like our fellow students, people of color, Muslims will face. However, we cannot silence them with our own voices. We have to speak with them, not above them. We don't know the struggle. We cannot speak for them. All we can do is raise their stories up, spread their information, and do what we can to fight this ban. It is a ban. They have used that word. This is a ban on people. You can't ban people. That I have to this is my mother worked when I lived in Atlanta for a service called Refugee Family Services. She works day and night to help find placement for refugees coming into Atlanta, the biggest international airport. There are so many refugees coming in. She saw firsthand these people's struggles, the stuff they went through. They provided them with housing, education for their children, domestic violence support. She is appalled and I am appalled. She worked so long and so hard to help all these people, and now they're in danger again. Just when they thought they were safe, they're in danger again. Sorry. Like she said, this is such a good thing to see everybody out here and supporting this walkout. This is amazing. But this will not be enough. Again, call your senators, call your representatives. Don't be quiet. Protest. Donate money. The ACLU has been collecting funds to provide lawyers for people who are fighting to stay in this country. Talking is great, but we have to do more than that.
I'm a graduate student here at LSU, and first of all, I want to thank you all for being here because, just in case y'all didn't know, this is what solidarity looks like. I feel like I have to be here as both a Black Lives Matter activist and a fellow person of color because I understand what solidarity looks like. I understand what empathy looks like. A friend of mine always says, when you show up for people, you show that you care. When you show up for people, you show that you're more than willing to be there for them and help them with their struggles. And right now, we're all struggling. This band, what it means, what it symbolizes, it's not only un-American, it's just flat out mean. It's kind of like, I don't understand that people say this is a country of immigrants, but this is a country that was people were murdered in this country for people to come here. Black people didn't have a choice with this. The narrative of that is dangerous, and we need to understand that we're not all immigrants, but we're here defending immigrants right now. We need to understand that by engaging with each other, by talking to each other, by not being afraid to have those conversations, like our friend said, about privilege, understanding that we all have our individual powers that let us help other people and let us make moves and do things to make this world a better place for each other. So, I want to thank all of you for being here, and I really want to stress that just by showing up, you're helping. And like they said too, show up with your money, show up with your privilege, keep showing up, because this is not the end of it, by a long shot. And we have a lot of work to do. And I want y'all to take that to heart. And I want y'all to keep thriving. And I want y'all to keep speaking truth to power. Because we need everyone for this. Thank you.
Hey guys, I am just a random. My name is Kylie, I'm a political science major. I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that there's also an executive order taking back the money that the United States was giving to women around the world for women's health care, women's rights, and abortion. I wanted to kind of point out, if women don't have rights, if Muslims don't have rights, if black men don't have rights, if immigrants don't have rights, who gets rights? When do we start getting rights? Because as a woman of color, from parents who are immigrants, I currently feel like, what's the point? I might as well leave because I'm not going to be able to do anything with my body or with my family or anything overseas until when? That's it.
I'm also just a random, but as a child and grandchild of both Latino and Middle Eastern immigrants. First off, thank you to all of you. It's beautiful. There are people who say this is not what America is. Those people, they don't look, they don't smell, they don't talk, they don't pray the way America is. No, this is what America is. Number 3, there is a quote from a priest who survived the Holocaust. He said, when they came for the socialists, I did not stand up because I was not a socialist. When they came for the unionists, I did not stand up because I was not a unionist. When they came for the Jews, I did not stand up because I was not a Jew. So when they came for me, there was nobody left to stand up for me. Thank you all. Please keep standing.
And I'm going to be representing the Muslim Student Association. I just want to say thank you all for being here, for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here, for taking a stand, for standing up for our values. Some might say that protests are really irrelevant, but we know why we protest. To show solidarity to those who are targeted, to those who are scared, and to those who are not able to be here right now. Guys, the world looks up to us as Americans, so I want all of you to continue standing up and speaking up and doing the other things like donating and talking to your representatives to speak up for our values. And together, we're a much stronger force. Thank you.
Hello. I did not plan to speak, but you know what? I just want to tell a story real quick and about my father. For 49 years, my dad had no. Okay, for 49 years, my father had no citizenship. He wasn't just not a citizen of the United States, he had no citizenship whatsoever. Because in 1948, his parents were kicked out of Palestine by occupation, genocide, and war, and sent to Kuwait, where they were denied citizenship, but lived as second-class citizens among everyone else. My father doesn't tell me a lot about this time when he lived there, because it was so racked with persecution and violence and on the part of people living around him. We wouldn't recognize him
after that, he went to the United States for college, got his engineering degree, went back with an engineer. In the 80s, Saddam invades Kuwait, America goes Persian Gulf War, and he's, again, a man with no nation and nowhere to go, trying to escape war, just like his parents had. So he comes here, an engineer, with lots of experience, degrees, and no one will hire him because he's an Arab. He's welcomed to the United States as a political refugee, and still people around him don't treat or respect him. But that didn't deter him, so he opened his own business. Like a lot of our fathers do, we opened a restaurant, and he worked hard, and he built it up. He built a little family base in a community in a small town, Zachary, Louisiana. And after that, he was once even awarded the small business owner, minority business owner of the year by the governor. Although they took that back because they decided Palestinians weren't minority enough for them. And then eventually, after over 20 years living in the United States, he got his citizenship. I have my citizenship. I have a country. Those people in Syria, they don't anymore. That country is gone because there's bombing, there's terrorism, there's everything that you couldn't even imagine because it's so terrible. And 120 days means everything to those people whose lives are being destroyed, whose houses are being destroyed, whose jobs are being destroyed. And we're going to say no to them because we're afraid of things that don't happen. Because they're... one terrorist from one of the countries that he banned, but the rest he didn't, because business ties, because that's what matters. This is all about money and show. It's not about truth. It's playing upon fears, but it's not about founded ones. And there's no reason for any of this to be happening except pure discrimination. And we've seen it time and time again. This is what happens. People get afraid, they turn on the minority. This is what they do with African Americans, they do with the LGBTQIA. This is why everyone has to stand together, because one day it's going to be you. Whatever it is, if you have blonde hair, maybe they'll come for you too. We don't know. But it's going to happen. So there's no point in just blindly discriminating and hating and perpetuating this idea that it's okay. Hey, you know what? You want to hear about a law? You guys said, no peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
I have something to say.
Go ahead. Okay. Sorry. Okay, just one more thing about the stupid wall. Okay, there are lots of walls in history. There's the Great Wall, the Berlin Wall, but there's also a wall right now in Palestine, and that's why Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, old BB, came out and was like, hey, walls work, go for Donald Trump because we have ours. Well, guess what? That wall is manufacturing genocide, and it's ethnic cleansing, and it's illegal, but it's also, I'm not going to use curse words up here, but terrible, so look. Anyway, your wall's going down. Bye. My great-grandmother was a refugee, and she lived in Russia, and she was Jewish. And one day, people raided her village and killed all of her family members and stacked them up in shacks, and they froze solid. So she fled, and she came to New York for a better life. And not just for a better life, but to continue living. And when she got to New York, she found out that instead of this shining utopia of peace and acceptance, Jews were also being spat on in the streets and being secluded into neighborhoods and not being tolerated, let alone
she stopped being Jewish. And she never admitted it until later on in life that she was originally Jewish. She was a refugee, and she came here to continue living. And even then, she could not continue being herself. And if there's anything I want anyone to remember is that this country has a long, rich history of intolerance, religious discrimination, and racism. If there is one thing that I beg all of you and everyone else in this country to remember is our history.
Say it again.
Remember history.
Everyone, this is going to be our last speaker, and then the MSA is going to lead a prayer. I'm going to come on and we're going to wrap it up, all right? All right, thank you.
So I just finished class, and when I saw this crowd, I wondered what it was for. And then I realized I had something that I had to get off my chest. And so far throughout history, if you look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, all of human's history, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, whoever, all those important figures have fought for this reason. It's so that we can all live peacefully, so that we can all love and advance together as society, instead of getting held back by something trivial, like the color of our skin and our belief and where we're from. This is something that we should move past from already. We should be advancing today. We shouldn't even look at the differences that we have towards each other. Instead, we should see what we have that are similar. We're all family. You standing all here together, you guys are brothers and sisters, and look at each other that way. You guys are family. And I'm glad that I get to witness something like this here on LSU campus, on my campus, in my school. And I want this to grow, keep growing. And that's about it.
This is the first event of a movement. As you have heard many of our speakers say here today, it's not enough to just speak. I was just a woman who couldn't sleep. And I decided to come and bring my community together. I am so amazed. I am so proud of us. Thank you. Have an awesome day.